Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
Hello, everybody. It's part 2, bitches. And if you're here for the first time, go check out part 1. Don't be an idiot. Do things in order. This is the Sweet 16 Marvel Character Tournament. I'm Colton Robertson, joined by Joseph George. What is up, homie?
What up, what up? Only halfway through this? Oh, God. Yeah.
Only halfway through this. This is the second half of the Sweet 16, and I'll say again, if this is the first time you are here, you haven't listened to any of this character tournament, and you're on part 2 of the Sweet 16, get out of here. Go over there to round of 64, where we start this bitch. I don't know why you're here. Go really back over there.
That's weird.
But that's all I'll say here. You know, we've done a disclaimer in every part 1, letting you know what the fuck is going on. So if you're listening to part 2s, I'm assume you listened to part 1. So let's dive into this thing. We're on the second half of the Sweet 16, and we're starting with a fucking bitch of a matchup here. We've got a 1 versus a 5, and Steve Rogers, Captain America, versus Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier. And that's a bitch there. That's a bitch. I'm gonna say, I think that this is a tough one. Something to consider. While Steve Rogers has been the main character in the First Avenger and the Winter Soldier and Civil War and a big part of Infinity War and Endgame, I will note that Bucky was the biggest impact on him in the First Avenger and the Winter Soldier and Civil War, and then later on in Infinity War and Endgame, he was also a part of those. So, and obviously wasn't a part of Endgame until the end, but
Loki and Bucky are the biggest characters in the MCU that are not given the spotlight.
Yeah.
Loki was given the spotlight, and Bucky, yeah, they have their own show, yes. But I'm talking before their shows, they are crucial characters to push the entire story forward. And it's kind of like, it's just poetic that Iron Man went up against Sam and that Cap is going up against Bucky. And I feel like I'm leaning more towards Bucky right now.
Yeah, you see, I am too. And here's the thing is that, like, I think there are things to admire about both these characters. So here's the thing. I think that story-wise, both of them are fantastic. We've seen, Bucky go through so much. We've seen him, nearly die, falling off an ice cliff. We've watched him be programmed and used by Hydra as the Winter Soldier to shape governments and the way the world works through assassinations, which is just insane. And we've seen him be redeemed, and we've seen him come all the way back from that point. Meanwhile, we've seen Steve watch his best friend die. We've seen Steve watch his best friend be an assassin. We've seen Steve do everything he can to stand by that best friend, even through all the shit. And we've seen him bring him back in the end, nurture him, and get him back to where he needs to be. Obviously, that's more done by Io and stuff in Wakanda. Like they really get him through it. But it's not possible without Steve Rogers standing up for him.
Oh, this one's hard.
It's hard.
It's not like an Iron Man and Sam Wilson in the sense that you have like reservations with Tony. There's no real reservations with Steve, though.
There's not.
Like,
The
he's
thing
always been Steve, man. He's always been Steve.
The reasons you love Sam Wilson are arguably the same reasons you love Steve Rogers, just on a different. Like, for me, I like my love for Sam Wilson has grown, I think, past my love for Steve Rogers. I think Steve Rogers like will always hold a special place in my childhood and the nostalgia that comes with him. But I don't know. He just wasn't. I don't think he. It's crazy how much the super serum takes from that for me, and making Sam Wilson the next Captain America just fits for some reason. It's like you need someone there who's just a guy to represent.
Steve kind of doesn't have an arc when you think about it. It's kind of just a linear line. He's just Steve.
I'm with you. Here's the thing. That's what's making me go Bucky. Is Bucky genuinely has a better story than Steve Rogers.
Bucky's character has made me cry. Steve's has not.
The only thing Steve has, his entire thing, is he's a man out of time. You know, he's 70 years past where he's supposed to be. His entire time on Earth is basically just coping and hoping and wishing he could get back to that point. Ultimately, he makes it back to that point. That's like the entire thing. Obviously, he stands by his friend. He protects his friend. And you know what's funny now talking about this? Is that it's not Bucky who propels Steve's story. It's Steve who propels Bucky's. Which is absolutely wild to think about. Obviously, Bucky is a great source of the motivation for Steve in any given movie. Obviously, in The Winter Soldier, trying to bring him back and battling him there, but then in Civil War, standing by him and fighting Tony whenever Tony discovers that Bucky was the one who killed his parents. Yeah, it's wild the conclusions I've come to doing this. But I believe more now than ever that Steve was a tool in Bucky's story as opposed to the reverse. I think that Steve shaped Bucky's story as opposed to Bucky being a part of Steve's, which is really weird to think about.
Bucky's kind of the main character. Like,
well, here's the thing. Let me do this for you. Steve and Bucky, Obi-Wan and Anakin. That's what's happening there. So you got Old Reliable. You love the guy. He is good through and through. But has he had the story that the fallen angel had? The one who went through the torturous shit and came out the other side eventually?
This bracket is just so poetic. And the way it's working out.
I can't believe
Iron Man and Cap are
Iron Man
gone.
and Steve Rogers lost in the Sweet 16?
And they both lost to the Falcon and Winter Soldier. Awesome.
That's fantastic.
How it, like, there's randomness and like we seeded that's not random, but then we put them in this bracket random. Just randomly.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on here, but it's working out pretty well. But I'm definitely comfortable with pushing Bucky through here.
I am too, and that's another 5 seed winning over a 1 seed, which is the same as Sam Wilson beating Iron Man. The 5 beat the 1 in that one as well. Or maybe Sam was a 4. Sam might have been a 4, whereas Bucky's a 5. But either way, it's cool to see them win out there.
Mm.
And now we're on to another fun one. In a 2 seed versus a 3 seed in Captain Marvel versus Thanos.
Ooh. 2 Titans.
A couple of Titans.
One a legit Titan, and then the other just
Metaphorical Titan.
yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, man. I rewatched Captain Marvel just 2 nights ago, and while we've said on many occasions that a movie is only as good as its villain, that is the biggest detractor from the Captain Marvel film, is that the villain is confusing for a while. It's the Kree versus Skrull war. You're going back and forth for a second. But let me tell you, that is a good movie. I don't care what anyone else has to say about it. Like, that is a good fucking
If anyone
movie.
has anything to say about that movie, you're either just you're a misogynist. That's pretty much it.
Or maybe you're an intense film critic, because obviously these Marvel movies aren't the shit. Like, they're not the critically best films ever made.
If you're a Marvel fan, if you are a Marvel fan, this movie,
what's not to like?
Oh my god, like, Skrulls are just cool. Like, the introduction of Skrulls, amazing. Nick Fury is in this movie, and Nick Fury's just bad. He's just badass all the time. I love any Nick Fury.
You got young Nick Fury mentoring a young Agent Coulson, who goes on to sacrifice himself for the Avengers in the Avengers movie. Like,
you get the origin of why he wears an eye patch. Like,
the Flurkin.
I don't know.
You got Ben Mendelsohn as Talos. Orson Krennic in Rogue One, a legendary character actor as a Skrull, is fucking amazing. And let me tell you, that Kree versus Skrull conflict is the most Marvel Comics nerd bullshit they could possibly throw into a movie, which it makes sense that people wouldn't be the most deeply interested in the Kree versus Skrull conflict. We don't know about the Kree versus the Skrull. Who the fuck cares? But ultimately, it's a really compelling war story, a really compelling anti-war story, which is awesome.
Those movies,
and it's about how the Kree weaponized propaganda against Captain Marvel to make her believe they were on the good side when they were not the good side.
I'm trying to just think of anything that could have Thanos beat Captain Marvel here.
Obviously, big bad. 10 years in the making.
His on-screen performances is really only Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah.
It's post-credit scenes, and sometimes he shows up in the movie, but it's brief. But he's my favorite MCU villain. Maybe not.
He's not mine. However, I do we'll come away from this 30 years from now, and Thanos will be far and away the most iconic MCU villain there ever was. There's no doubt about it. But nevertheless, I think that Captain Marvel, there's the other momentous factor into this, that she was the first solo woman-led MCU film. That's a whole other awesome thing that came out of this movie. Her dynamic with Maria Rambeau, therefore, in creating the origin story for Monica Rambeau. There's a lot to love about the Captain Marvel movie, and I think that if you're a Marvel fan, go ahead and give it another look-see if you for some reason think you don't like it or think you won't like it, because that's just a good fucking movie. And frankly, Thanos is awesome. Storied character for several years in the comics. One of the biggest bads there is. And you see that on screen, and I think he's got a cool story and motivation. He's worthy, That's a cool fucking aspect of his character.
It is pretty cool. And I think the coolest version of his character is what if when he's on Star-Lord's team,
a good Thanos, bro. Could you imagine if Thanos was good? That'd be insane. That'd be so much fun.
T'Challa just made me realize, Like
and another credit to T'Challa in the last episode. The fact that
Yeah.
he made Thanos realize he was wrong if they just would have talked to each other.
wow. Wow. Wow.
Pretty absurd. But the fact that, I mean, he's got some fun on screen appearances.
That's like
whenever he goes against the
convincing-
Black Order and, you know, Nebula's like, what are you, crazy? And he's like, not crazy. Mad. I was like, oh, that was dope. I love it.
So that's insane. Like, I don't know. I love Thanos, but you're not beating Captain Marvel.
Yeah, you're not. Captain Marvel's just too fucking cool.
Got to give respect or credit where credit's due. Like the performance of Thanos, he like the voice iconic, the look iconic.
Well, and what's so funny now is that Josh Brolin is like a pretty credited actor. He's been in a lot of stuff.
Deadpool too. It's so hard to not.
You hear Thanos every time.
Yeah.
No, because I think of in Dune whenever Oscar Isaac tells him, "Smile, buddy," and he's like, "I am smiling." All I heard was Thanos. That scene, like, I loved his character in Dune, by the way. It was absolutely fucking awesome, and I need to give Dune another watch, frankly. But, yeah, Josh Brolin is a good actor, and Thanos is a really cool character that's been brought to life, but he's not Captain Marvel. You're not that guy, buddy. You're not that guy.
Sorry, not that guy, pal.
You're not that guy, pal. All right, we're on to the next one. Ooh. We got a 2 versus a 3 here in Doctor Strange versus the Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff. Where are you sitting? Where's that head of yours at?
Well, Doctor Strange, as solo Marvel movies go, top 3.
Certainly.
In my opinion, maybe top 2.
Maybe. I'd have to really weigh it. I'd have to really weigh it. But
okay. As a character, inherently, Doctor Strange is just cooler.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to compete with the Sorcerer Supreme, Benedict Cumberbatch. Like, another casting choice that fits the character perfect.
Just perfect. And I know we said it's based on screen appearance mostly, but historically, that's an early 60s comic book character that has been loyal to that image since day one. Like, it is the same Doctor Strange, which is really cool.
The Black Widow movie, though, like, that movie is, like, after rewatching it, after getting the post-in-game era out of my head, watching it for the first time,
War.
like, yeah, this is, so when I got that right and I watched the movie and I just enjoyed it, like, as a solo Marvel film too, like, it's not up there with Doctor Strange, but it's still very good, like, a very, like,
and I mean, like, because what's to hate about a woman taking down a misogynist oppressor?
Come on, man. Yeah, like, that movie was awesome. Like, I don't know. I think Doctor Strange wins. It's just hard to compete with Doctor Strange. Like, and he's entering his prime too.
Yeah.
Like, he's just now entering his prime. He's a pivotal part of Marvel. He's in No Way Home. He's in Multiverse of Madness. I guess that's his own movie. But, like, very crucial. Dude's going to be around for a long time.
Yeah. I think I'm with you. I think Doctor Strange is, at the moment, more exciting. He's had a really compelling story thus far. Obviously, we've had just the one. I will say, he ain't went through nearly the shit.
That's what's kind of holding me back, though. Like, I'm still, like, I haven't decided, like, Doctor Strange wins yet.
Oh, no, I haven't either. Because
Black Widow has history. Like,
she's got a more expansive story across the MCU. We've officially seen her childhood. And whenever we've seen her childhood, you get the upper hand a little bit because we automatically get a little bit of where you're coming from. And coming from a Soviet spy family, undercover in the USA, getting chased out of town by SHIELD agents, being returned to the Red Room where they indoctrinate your adopted sister, they indoctrinate you, they give you a involuntary hysterectomy. And then you grow up to be a super spy for the American government who is worthy of fighting alongside a god, a Hulk, a man in an armor suit, and Captain America. That's pretty fucking cool.
you know what? Right now, I think
We
Black
haven't seen
Widow
No Way
wins.
Home.
Yeah.
We haven't
Right
seen No Way
now-
Home. We haven't seen Multiverse of Madness.
We really only have Doctor Strange and Infinity War and Endgame for him. But Black Widow, we have Iron
All
Man
that.
2 is her
Yep.
first appearance. So, like,
Iron Man
basically,
2, she was basically second fiddle to Chris Evans in The Winter Soldier. In the post and after the snap, she became the de facto leader of the what's going on in the universe. I think, as of right now, it's definitely Black Widow. Doctor Strange,
I'm just
power
thinking
set-
of his potential. Really, whenever
power
I'm thinking of
set.
him, yeah.
Look at the character design. Everything about him points into the direction that one day he'll be one of the coolest Marvel characters ever. His story is cool, but he's not Natasha Romanoff. Not right now. You're not that guy yet, pal.
He's not that guy yet. He's, like, thinking of what he's done. Yes, he beat Dormammu.
He killed Tony Stark.
He did do that. Nah, I
can't do that. I can't do that. And another thing, we didn't even consider this. Black Widow does have the self-sacrifice play, which always helps. Like, she was willing to die for her friend. Be it was for Hawkeye.
And Doctor
However,
Strange,
she
you
was
have the
willing to die
opposite.
for him.
You have the opposite of whether it comes down to the stone or you. I choose the stone no matter what, and the only reason he gave up the stone is because he literally saw the future. So I am like 20% set. Like, I don't, only like 20% of me is that he saw the future where Tony died and he chose that one specifically. I
don't think that's the case. I think that theory is it's fun. It would be more on the table if this were comic books, but Doctor Strange has been around long enough and was important enough in enough movies that a twist like that would be really, really, really random. Not to say it couldn't be done, but it would be really jarring.
What I think, if they were to go that route, if Doctor Strange goes there, Wanda's going there, and I think Wanda would be the one to pull Doctor Strange, like, with her. I don't think Doctor Strange gets there on his own. I think if Wanda goes bad, which I'm only 30% on that too.
Yeah.
Like, if Wanda goes bad, I see her convincing him, like, hey, the Avengers, like, you've always been against them. You haven't really liked them. Like, I know you helped them in this big war and stuff, but, like, now it's time to think for yourself and sort of thing.
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. And like we're going all potential right now. Like,
That's true.
The most exciting things about Doctor Strange's character is what's to come. And obviously we have the benefit of Black Widow having her entire story being done. She has died canonically. It helps. Therefore, I think Black Widow beats Stephen Strange here.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore we have another upset here with a 3 beating a 2. Not a huge upset, but we've had a few. We had a 5 beating a 1, a 4 beating a 1, a 3 beating a 2. How about on this side? No upsets on the other side, I don't think. Besides Sam Wilson over Iron Man. But yeah, this one's so far so good, and now we're on to the last matchup of this half of the bracket. And boy, oh boy, is that a toughie. In a 1 seed versus a 4 seed, we've got Thor versus Vision.
Looking like another upset to me.
Okay, so
the 1 seeds are really only 1 seeds because
of their iconicism.
Yeah.
Their name.
When you deep dive into their actual character, Thor only got good after Dark World. Or Ragnarok, he's great. Obviously, Ragnarok is just awesome. But Vision, though, in WandaVision, Vision has always been goated.
Straight out of the chamber in Ultron.
Vision's character is just way more interesting, in my opinion. Thor has Mjolnir and Stormbreaker and all of these god powers and Asgard and, things that make him very, very cool and very likable. There's a reason that Thor is,
Oh, and here's the thing. He has had a cool story. He needs to see some character development when he starts his story. He's cocky, he's brash, he's arrogant. And Odin humbles him a bit. He takes away his powers, sends him to Earth. And, it's hard to say what happens to him if he doesn't meet Jane. If he's not where he is, when he is, and who's there with him. But, we do have the benefit of knowing that he falls in love with Jane. They have a real connection. And he has to go back to save his dad and save Jotunheim from Loki. And the heart of Thor's character is that conflict, is Thor versus Loki, and how their relationship unfolds, and seeing them come together towards the end of Dark World a little bit after their mother had died, where they fool the Dark Elf into thinking that he'd killed Thor when he hadn't actually killed Thor, or however that whole saga unfolded. It unfolded in a real wait, what the fuck happened?
Loki just flew off into a star thing. He just dove, and a lot of weird things happened.
Well, that's in Thor.
Yeah.
That he drops off the Rainbow Bridge and falls into Avengers. I always think that he just gets transported from that fall straight to the SHIELD facility on the other end of the Power Stone, but that just doesn't make sense. It's I don't know what the fuck happened to Loki there. But
was Thanos the one who actually sent Loki to New York? Was he behind it at all? So maybe when he dove off the bridge, that's when he found Thanos, maybe?
I don't know. There's also the possibility he didn't actually fall off the bridge, because
the Loki show, the classic Loki saying he just floated away as a piece of debris, whatever. It's kind of that.
Yeah, what would have happened if he had just...
That's our Loki's moment like that, you know? And I never put those together, but
I haven't either, but that's exactly what would have happened if he'd just kept floating. He'd have just been that Loki. Glorious purpose.
Thor, like, this one is...
We're getting to this point now. Hey, did you notice who that conversation was about and
Exactly.
where it ended up?
That's what I was just about to say, is that it's the same exact situation with Bucky.
Captain Bucky.
Like, Loki really pushes Thor. And Vision propels himself. Like, he is
While propelling Wanda, and Wanda propels him.
Yes,
and
like, it's kind of it's cool that Thor is going up against Vision, the guy who gave him the last bit of energy to come alive, basically. So that's kind of cool.
And they can both lift Mjolnir. Let's not forget. One of the best MCU scenes there's ever been.
First things that Vision does is lift Mjolnir. That's literally like minutes after he's awake. He's already lifting up Mjolnir. So
it's a worthy man right there.
I think this one is pretty. It looks like all of our 1 seeds other than Spider-Man fall.
Yeah.
Wow. But I'm very comfortable pushing Vision through here.
Yeah, I as well am comfortable pushing Vision through. I think that's the right move, and we're left with some pretty fun matchups here. So let's run through them real quick, all the way through the Sweet 16, what the results were, and what we're looking at headed into the Elite 8 next week. We saw in the first half, we saw a 1 seed versus a 5 seed in Spider-Man versus Deadpool, in which our only 1 seed advanced. Spider-Man defeated Deadpool, and we'll be facing 2 seed Scarlet Witch. We got a 1 versus 2, which makes sense. I was like, I really hope it doesn't all play out like that at that point, and then it didn't, which I'm very happy with. So we got a 1 versus 2 in the Elite 8 with Spider-Man versus the Scarlet Witch, which is really fun. And then on the bottom half of that side, we had a 2 seed versus a 3 seed, and Black Panther versus Wolverine. 2 seed Black Panther advances to face 4 seed Sam Wilson, who won out over 1 seed Iron Man. So again, that side of the bracket is 1 seed versus 2 seed Spider-Man versus Scarlet Witch, and 2 seed versus 4 seed Black Panther versus Sam Wilson. This side of the bracket, we saw 1 seed versus 4 seed Steve Rogers versus Bucky Barnes, in which we got an upset where we saw Bucky Barnes as fit to win over Steve Rogers, which is just wild to say out loud.
Mm-hmm.
And that 5 seed will go up against 2 seed Captain Marvel, who defeated 3 seed Thanos. So again, we got 2 seed Captain Marvel versus 5 seed Bucky Barnes. We also saw 2 seed against 3 seed Doctor Strange versus Black Widow, where ultimately Black Widow won out, defeating the Sorcerer Supreme, and she will face Vision next round, which will be a 3 seed versus a 4 seed, which is really fun, with Vision, the 4 seed, defeating Thor, the 1 seed. So on this side of the bracket, we have a 5 versus a 2 and a 3 versus a 4.
The first side, Spidey, Scarlet Witch, Black Panther, Sam Wilson. I kind of expected that out of
that makes sense
out of this side, but the other side,
I did
Bucky,
not expect it.
Captain Marvel, Black Widow, Vision. Like, I'm excited that
that's what that's come down to on that
basically
side. Basically,
it's
crazy.
Like a traditional side of the bracket where it's like I don't know, traditional meets like this side of the bracket with Vision, Black Widow, Captain Marvel, Bucky. Like, it's all of these just like great characters. Like, their stories
are good.
I guess the other side is that too.
The other side's that too.
We're getting to. I mean, this is the Elite 8, so they're all
legit.
I mean, come on, this is top 8 of Marvel, so they're gonna be good. But yeah, this is it's playing out pretty sick. Not gonna lie,
pretty nicely. Well, yeah, man. I think that concludes that. So that's the Sweet 16. It's all said and done. Available in 2 parts now. This was the Penny Bloom podcast. I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, buddy.
Thank you for having me, man. This is
Of course.
been a blast.
Oh, and it will continue to be a blast as next week we will have the Elite Eight to discuss. That'll be really enjoyable. Head to patreon.com/CoroBloom, where you'll find over 20 hours of exclusive content, including the planning and seeding for this very tournament, how we decided what characters would even be in it, where they'd be seeded. You know, I did a lot of the whole 1 seed versus 2 seed and 2 seed versus 3 seed thing today, and that's where you'll figure out why all those characters are where they are. There's a reason where they are, or so we thought. You know, evidently we saw some 5 and 4 seeds went out over our 1 seeds, which is really interesting because, you know, we had to have decided that at some point. Also head to Twitter, follow at PennyBloomPod, where all the polls will be available for you to vote along with us. Who you think deserve to win our Sweet 16 matchups. Those will be available tomorrow. And hell yeah. Peace, love, and bloom. And always praise Keanu Reeves.